We live in a world full of war, anger, and resentment. Oftentimes, we chase dreams to satisfy someone else's dreams without looking at ourselves in the mirrors and asking what our dreams are. Some of us are fortunate to have people in our lives to guide us through the chaos of life. One person in my life that has been to the darkest bottom of depression and was filled with the hottest anger and rage taught me that failure is the only opportunity to begin again, only this time more wisely. The person I am speaking about today is best known as Uncle Iroh. Uncle Iroh was the son of Fire Lord Azulon, king of the Fire Nation. He was the rightful heir of the Fire Nation, but that was stolen from him by his younger brother, Ozai. He gave up that without resistance. I want to tell you why Uncle Iroh was so inspirational to me and hundreds and thousands of people around the world. He traveled and found peace in the world engulfed in war. He guided his nephew that was banished by his father, and he helped his enemies at the steps of victory. Iroh was born into a royal Fire Nation family. He was feared, respected general of the Fire Nation, nicknamed the Dragon of the West. During the Hundred-Year War, he would accomplish the impossible, breaching the impenetrable walls of Ba Sing Se, of the While he was at the top of the world, he received the news that would break him. His only son, Lu Ten, died in the front lines while fighting the war. This caused him to leave the war and travel the world. Rather than going on a vengeful killing spree, he traveled the world to different nations and experienced their culture. And he gained a fascination and love for tea. During this time, he would become a member of the White Lotus, a secret society made up of members from all of the nations, fire, water, and earth kingdom, sworn to protect and keep balance in the absence of the Avatar, the only one who had the power to bring all the four nations in harmony. But the Avatar has been out of sight for 100 years and had thought to been dead. As the oldest, he was the rightful heir of the title Fire Lord of the Fire Nation, but his younger brother Ozai, a violent and volatile man, lied and said that his father's last wishes was that he took the position of Fire Lord. Ozai had a son named Zuko, and one day he spoke out of turn during a strategy meeting, and he was banished until he returned with the Avatar. Knowing that this was impossible and would be a wild goose hunt, Uncle Iroh joined him. He loved Zuko as his own son, and always urged him to find his own path and free himself of his anger, something his father Ozai could not do. Is this your own destiny, or is it a destiny someone else had tried to force on you? It's time for you to look inward and begin asking yourself the big question: who are you, and what do you want? With those simple yet wise words, Uncle Iroh changed the course of the Fire Nation and the future of the soon-to-be Fire Lord. During the search for the Avatar, they had several encounters with him. Iroh could have simply struck them with lightning, or a technique that he had invented himself called the Dragon's Breath, but he didn't. He befriended them and even offered them a cup of tea as a sign of peace. Sharing tea with fascinating strangers is one of life's true delight. Not only was he advocating for peace in a time of war with his so called enemies, he was setting an example for his angry and volatile nephew. Through his words of wisdoms, he helped change the people around him, but most importantly, changed the sun like figure, Zuko. As you have figured, Uncle Iroh is a fictional character in a children's animated series, but he has inspired me to find my own path and seek peace with my enemies. From time to time, I even enjoy a cup of tea. He was supposed to be the next Fire Lord of the Fire Nation, but he gave up that crown without resistance. And he inspired people all over the world rather than bringing pain, fear, and anger. All the things his brother Ozai couldn't do. He traveled to all four nations and experienced cultures and peace and found peace. He looked over his nephew Zuko, as if he was his own son. Even though he had the power to kill his enemies, so that Zuko can return and regain his honor, he showed mercy and taught Zuko that he needed to find his own path and fulfill his own destiny. I end with one of my favorite quotes by Uncle Iroh. Destiny is a funny thing. You never know how things are going to work out. But if you keep an open mind and an open heart, I promise you will find your own destiny.